has been picked by FaZe. Let's see if they can start strong and begin this revenge tour.
First ban going out is Jönköping from Team Liquid. Now, this is a curious one to me because when I think of Team Liquid, I think of Resets, right? Who is that player on the secondary support? He loves picking operators like Jönköping, and taking that away is an interesting one to me. Ying as well to go out means that all your hard breach and all of your Thatcher, baby EMPs, all the utilities left in the game.
Sounds like the crowd is really enjoying this operator veto. So.
I don't know if you guys can hear the crowd, but every time a ban...
Oh, there we go.
All right, I have no idea if you guys can hear the crowd, but every time a band comes through, they do a little whoa, and they go and hype it up for us. That's amazing. Love you guys out there. Ban pace to come through has been pretty interesting so far. Well, my being taken off does mean that playing some of those anchor positions, I imagine like playing a shield at bricks, protecting your Azami barricades and resets, for example, who's just picked it here on this site, will be made a little bit more tricky. Pulse going out makes a lot of sense for me, especially against Lagonis. He's a demon on it, especially on this map.
Protect your bombs from being defused.
Well, FaZe Clan starting on the attack here. Liquid, of course, got the choice of the starting side, and they will go to defense. We've seen some really good Villa attacks, but like many maps in the pool, it does seem to favor that defensive side. Now, while we have had operators like that Pulse banned out, we do have the Azami making it through. We do have that Valkyrie for extra information. Some really big hitting operators on that defense that when you have players as powerful as those on Liquid, you know that they can get creative with these operators and really make it difficult for FaZe to enter that building, to take that map control. And just have a look at this, Mandy. There's a very unusual shield setup in the 90 hallway.
That is very peculiar. I don't think we've ever seen Liquid run something quite like this. It is going to be Lagonis that is the one on the shield in the 90 hallway. Not only that, but we've also got the Azami barricades. Resets is holding 2 in his pocket. He's just deployed 1 just then. And I can only imagine that this setup, the crossfire setup at 90 and at landing is going to be quite challenging for FaZe to push through.
Can I just say, Mandy, have a look at those attacking operators. I'm getting a bit of deja vu from the group stage. I believe it was Team Fury that did this Amaru and Blitz pick on Villa. And if I recall correctly, they went for a study and 90 rush. It looks like for now, FaZe Clan is just working some slow util game, but I've no doubt eventually it will be an explosive attack using those 2 operators.
If there is any attacking operator that you want against the lineup that Liquid have brought, it is probably Flores. Cameraman is making quick work of that study utility, but remember 90 is where the utility is held. It's Ask playing behind the shield here, and if FaZe decide they want to go for a map sweep, which actually doesn't look like they are, they could be met with some trouble.
Bullet is going to get inside the building, perhaps to go up from the red stairs. Okay, here we go. Capitao comes in, and Ask is feeling the heat. He's not going to be able to get out alive. He falls back, and oh my god, somehow, with the smallest of HP, he does escape. Cyber tempted to get in the window, and he goes for it. Up goes the Amaru, feeling a bit of pressure, takes a bit of damage, but it's Liquid to draw first blood. Here comes Astro, the Blitz, but it's not enough. Liquid will not be fooled, and FaZe start to fall apart.
But it's Bullet coming up the top of the red stairs, almost connecting the kills onto that player, just at landing. Souls and Bullet now in a 2-on-5 situation. 2-on-4 actually, Ask has been down, but it's looking pretty dire for FaZe Clan.
It's a desperate 2v5 now that Ask has been picked up. Bullet receives a couple, feeling a lot of pressure as they begin to hunt him down. Put that pressure on. Oh no! It's all up to Souls now. Palu and Resets to finish it off, and what a great counter rush from Team Liquid.
That was a pretty valiant effort from FaZe on that 90 Winter to try and clear out that position inside of 90. Now remember, Wamai is banned out, so Capitao bolts will not be caught by anything. They're not caught by the ADSs that were protecting Ask's position. And even though they were on that 90 Winter, they couldn't quite make the cutoff work. He got away with his life. And Liquid go to show that they're a super disciplined roster, right? That setup was very anchor-centric. It focused a lot on the utility on the site. And FaZe were just, they just couldn't prod quite into the site in time, and Liquid hold their ground.
Liquid will actually go to a completely different bomb site now. Instead of going stat trophy where most people would expect as a secondary, we're going down to kitchen dining, and we're seeing some site construction from the castle. I've seen a bit of this before, but I'm curious exactly where he'll be placing it and whether he's looking to aggressively hold some areas. It looks like maybe a closet hold could be in play. One castle barricade to go on the bathroom window.
So I just want to jump back down to this ground floor. Thank you, our lovely observers. So these footsies lines of sight that go inside of Memorial and go inside of Kitchen, inside of that laundry entry, does make it very hard to do a laundry execute once we get through to the late round, right? I imagine that this hallway is going to be more of a power position for the defenders, as I can see right through into where the execute might come from. It's pretty dangerous for FaZe. If they want to get to that late round, they'll have to identify that pretty quickly before they make the call for the execute.
Couple of changes on this attacking lineup. We have that Lion. The IQ as well, I think, is a great pick for this Valkyrie. A lot of information to be gathered and to be denied from this FaZe lineup. I love seeing the 0 in play from Astro this round. We can hear the first Lion E1D goes out. As FaZe try to take a little bit of map control, get a bit of information. They see this very strange setup around the bathroom. The closed off doorway with the castle barricade into Master, and yet a rotate. Looks like they might start to make their move. That's the second of 3 E1Ds.
This is FaZe in true FaZe fashion. Keep the defenders guessing. Don't hop in from anywhere just yet. It's actually asked to be taken down from that Astro.
Oh, Nesk!
Nesk can get the trade off of that triple wall rotation.
It's always Nesk, isn't it? He goes for another one! This man, there's a good reason why he is known as one of the greatest of all time. He is shut down here, however. Resets, goes for an aggressive retake into Master, and Astro is trying to take him down as he finishes off Ask. It's a big ask now for him, and, well, Liquid can easily clean up what was left of FaZe. That's 2 rounds decisively in their favor.
Really lovely strat from Team Liquid there on that top floor, especially inside of that master bedroom to triple wall. It was Team Liquid that actually coined the strategy, in my opinion, opening up the triple wall and opening up that closet footsies holes, making it really hard to make that entry work in the top floor. It was this team that started it back in the day when it wasn't super popular, and now it's come to show once again in this best of 3. Being able to hold those crossfires on the top floor made entering into closet, bathroom, and master really tricky. In FaZe, I really feel like played into the hands of that strategy, going for a very minimalist take.
It's funny, you wouldn't be too far off if you guessed that last round was that stat trophy bomb site, because that's where all the action went down. But now we're actually going to this stat and trophy site. Team Liquid have been utterly dominant so far. Now, both of our analysts actually favored FaZe, which to me is a bit of a hot take, Mandy, because as our lovely statistician, Sprabuni, had pointed out, that stat I said earlier, it's been 2 years and 3 months since FaZe Clan has taken down Team Liquid in a BO3. And while FaZe have had better international performances, there's just something about this matchup. It's similar to W7M and FaZe. If FaZe do win this match, they'll probably be favored going into that semi-final against W7M, as historically that matchup favors FaZe in the same way that this matchup tends to favor Team Liquid.
I think correction was the desk favored FaZe for the map, I believe. So they haven't called it for the BO3, but for this map, they think FaZe is going to take it. But so far, Team Liquid have shown some pretty incredible defenses. FaZe, once again, looking for this probe attack onto the map. We've got 1 player at each point of entry, putting some pressure on the external windows. Syra, of course, typically the first point of entry for this roster, will make his way in through Art Gallery.
Oh, there's a very early pick for FaZe. Ask goes down. That's the first time FaZe have found the opener this game.
Not too bad, not too bad. Finally, we have a bit of an early round advantage, but here's Palu. He's here on the ground floor, anticipating that Cyber may be making his way through Pottery, and in fact, he is. Just at the bottom of the main stairs now, a close engagement right around the corner. It's actually Palu to collect that kill, and all of a sudden, the man advantage has been evened out.
And what's more, Palu is allowed to fall back. In fact, his kill actually baited Bullet into pushing forward. Nesk took him down. Now it's really claustrophobic for FaZe Clan. All of their players together, but hang on a second, they've just found 2 kills. Opening up the site. Palu now is going to have to go big as this exothermic charge detonates on this main wall. It's a 2v3 for Palu and Lagonis.
That exothermic charge has gone down, but it hasn't prevented that split power position, which is where Palu is currently playing with that MP5. Still a pretty dangerous angle. Not only that, but he has the addition of the impact grenades to take down that Kiba barrier that was protecting the player inside of Master.
Lagonis, the new pickup for Liquid. Such an experienced support player, but he's taken a lot of damage. Tries to hold on to his position. FaZe Clan don't have to move fast. They still have the man advantage. As I say that, Palu rips it away from them as FaZe start to make their way into side. It's on Astro to now cover, but the smoke is really good there from Lagonis. Low HP on both of these Team Liquid players as Souls gets the flick he needs. It's up to Astro to clean up Lagonis, and FaZe can find their first round.
Fantastic push from FaZe. They were able to capitalize on that utility that was inside of Master to their favor. There was no longer a defender that was contesting them from bricks or from bathroom, and FaZe identified that because all of Liquid had pivoted over to try and stop the roam clear on the other side of the map, right? As soon as they got used to that space, triple wall was open and they could slowly but surely pinch out the remaining 2 defenders on the site, and finally FaZe get around on the board.
Perhaps it goes to show why Team Liquid didn't actually prefer that bomb site at Stat Trophy. They went to it third. Perhaps they're just not as confident in their ability on that side. They prefer dining. Well, now, fortunately for Liquid, this primary site of Aviator Games has been unlocked, and so they will return. But I find it very unlikely FaZe will do that similar Amaru and Blitz strategy, as it really flopped last time.
I don't imagine they will, but will Liquid repeat the same strategy they were going for? Ask, he's the one that was setting up that 90 corner shield with the ADSs, and it seems like he will do it once again, reinforcing off that hatch, putting down some ADSs for the window. Liquid not really changing their approach too much on this bomb site.
5 seconds to insertion.
Well, it's strange to me that FaZe aren't picking the Capitao, because even if they're not going to go for this Amaru strategy, that Capitao is a sure way to force out that position as Wamai's banned, like you mentioned before, but there's no Capitao on this attacking lineup.
Seems like a bit of a change in philosophy for FaZe. Liquid once again starting out on this roam extension over on the triple wall. Bullet on the Nook. Pretty characteristic of him to try and sneak his way into the building here on the ground floor, just droning out that bicycle room, seeing if there are any Liquid players to meet him.
It does seem to be a map clear here for FaZe, but you never really know with FaZe. They spend a lot of time setting up and checking and droning and measuring all their different options before they commit to something. And when they do commit, they don't hold back. But Palu downstairs, Nesk upstairs, all of these roamers making it very difficult for Team Liquid, or rather for FaZe, to get any free map control.
This is a great spot for Astro to be on that Flores. Not only is he able to take down some of these keeper barricades, but he's also been able to take down the 90 hallway shield from that drone hole that he'd send in his Rotero from. Right now, FaZe, it's opened up this side of the map for them, right? Knowing that 90 is essentially a highway now, it's been cleared out of utility, they may as well take the space that they've been given.
Seems like Ask's not too upset about losing his shield. He's still going to play in that 90 position for a little while. And yeah, it is a map clear, isn't it, from FaZe, and they've taken half of the map control on this top floor that they would like. Next step really is to clear out 90.
And that's exactly right. Bullet, we've got putting pressure down below. Now, Palu does have a C4 in hand, and he's in a very lethal position inside of that living room. So FaZe are going to have to be very careful as they move through 90 short as they're in these connector positions.
Oh, Palu does go for that C4, and it's a double! Of course it is for Palu! This man is seemingly unstoppable. One of the best rated players at the tournament so far, and one of the best players that Rainbow Six has ever seen. He goes for another one. A 5v2 now. FaZe looking desperate. Souls can find one, but there's a lot more to be done in only 50 seconds to do it.
45 seconds, but Souls still does have some Selma charges in his hands. He could put some pressure on that 90-volt wall if he wants to, and he even has the read of Palu coming up.
Oh, Palu!
Shots do not connect. Palu is there looking for that kill. Inside of 90, Souls in a bit of a pinch. Lagonis looks for the swing, and Cameraman in a 1-on-4 cannot close it out. Resets, finding the final kill, and Liquid clears out another round.
That man on your screens right there, Palu. What a player. 7-1. In just 4 rounds so far, always having an impact. And of course it's Palu and Nesk leading the way for Team Liquid. 2 of the best players of all time. I'm trying to think, what would that list be, that top 5 list?
A top 5 list?
The top 5 greatest players in Rainbow Six history.
I have no idea what that top 5 list is. There are so many greats, especially at the...
I mean, Nesk and Palu are in the top 5.
They are definitely
easily
within the top 5 for sure. And Liquid, this is only the beginning though, Dep. The beginning of what is going to be a very long stint. Remember, this is a best of 3 series, and this is Villa. Liquid, I love their Villa. I think the way that they've been playing out these strategies has to be really masterful, but it's about translating it throughout the rest of the series as well. Not only do you have to do this, they have to go into the attacking half, find success there as well, and then clean up another map. So there's still a long way to go for this roster.
But for FaZe, the pressure really is on them, isn't it? Because this is their map pick. They're down on their attacking side. Now, you can't be too upset about losing a few attacks here, but for me, it's the nature of how these rounds have gone, isn't it? Team Liquid have seemed in control almost the entire time. The one round that FaZe won was very tight, and so we need to see them spring into action, change something else. We are seeing a bit of a unique strategy here. We've got Amaru with the shotgun.
A little bit spicy. It's Cameraman. Of course, he can make his way in through the basement with that Amaru. This could be exciting. Do Liquid have a read on what's going on here? A laundry minimalist take is what FaZe are going for.
Here comes the Montaigne as well, putting that pressure directly on the side as Cameraman's coming from the rear. He doesn't quite see the player in kitchen. SMG-11 in hand. He needs to find that pivotal anchor. Lagona's flashed out, but not killed as of yet. Bullet does find the opener. However, not without a trade. Liquid holding on as best they can. It's back and forth, but Cyber finally breaks through. He's found a double on the round, and it's up to Palu and Ask. That diffuser going down. Palu! He gets one more. Forced back on the reload as Astro had to get off that diffuser. So much time, Mandy. It's only been a minute so far, and yet the chaos continues. Palu looking to duel with Cameraman, who forces his way back into sight on the back of a flash. Ask playing safely, but it's Cameraman to finally hunt down Palu. It's all up to Ask now, and Astro is there. Astro and Cameraman, what a duo. They nail down that 2v2 and get FaZe a second round.
Astro, of course, the IGL of FaZe, will lead them into victory on that round. Minimalist take onto Laundry. They identified that that time Liquid were not doing their open angle setup onto Laundry, and so they were able to make their way in nice and easy with that Monty. Not only that, but they were aided by Cameraman, of course, who was making his way up those back pantry stairs and was able to hit the site from inside of kitchen. Really quick and early identifying of the strategy from Liquid, from FaZe. Liquid were sparse across the map looking for their extended roam. It was just such an excellent read on the strategy, and they're able to make quick work of the site.
Yeah, this is big now, Mandy, because FaZe have an opportunity to go 3-3 at the end of this half. I'm having a look now at some of the stats from these teams. So Villa has actually not been a good map for FaZe. The only time they've played it in Stage 3 was when they played against Team Liquid in the Copa Elite 6, and it was a 7-8. In that game, FaZe was heavily defensive favor. They won 57% of their defenses, but only 38% of their attacks. Team Liquid actually have a negative win rate on both sides. So I really feel like FaZe Clan, I mean, to be fair, having such a strong defense on this map means that perhaps they'll be happy with 2 or 3 rounds on this attacking side.
I'm just going to quickly touch on the defense that's going on inside of Master, inside of Closet as well, just shown to us. This is very characteristic of Liquid. They're playing this open rotation hole inside of the triple wall, but what that means is they need castle barricades to block off any lines of sight from the Master bedroom window. So FaZe, are they going to direct attack this, or are they actually going to look for the roam clear? Now, we've seen FaZe try once already to direct attack it, and they were caught in the crossfire in that top floor. They'll have to change their approach a little bit if they want to find some better success.
Starting to mount some pressure, but Resets has allowed a lot of mobility thanks to this castle barricade and the Azami Kiba barrier. Palu and Cyber, though, are just around the corner from each other. Cyber, stationary. Oh, but Palu somehow hears him. Good ears on him, but it's not enough as Cyber gets the better of him. Of course, though, Lagonis is there on for the flank with the secondary shotty. He's so switched on, so in sync, and as we say that, it's a rush from Souls going straight into sight to find one, traded back. It's pure chaos from both of these teams as Resets continues to hold down the line. It's all up to Astro, and it looks like FaZe might not get that even half that they were searching for. Rounding the corner now, does get one. Almost had a second one there as well. He does have the sight, but does he have the ability to plant?
This is winnable for Astro. Even though he's on low HP, the two remaining defenders of Liquid are a little bit isolated, and he's got the diffuser in his hand as well. Just trying to get it down now, baiting out what the rest of the Liquid defenders are going to do. One of them's just rotated over into that trophy room, and will collect the kill. That's Ask. There we go. Liquid with another round.
Yeah, huge half there for Liquid, and so well played by Ask and Lagonis not to rush and allow Astro the opportunity to play that bait game. No, they played it perfectly. And as a result, Team Liquid are up 4-2, moving into their attack.
Just want to quickly touch on the team dynamic of Team Liquid once Lagonis has joined this roster. Because he has joined this roster, it means that Resets, who is the original support player, is no longer locked into that like site construction kind of role, right? Lagonis has picked a lot of that up. He picked up the castle. He's the one that's happy to play your smoke and your mute. And I think it's given a lot of flexibility to the rest of the roster and enabled them to do what they want. And particularly Resets, who's just such a smart secondary support player, both on the attack and the defense. If you put a Zami in his hands, that is danger waiting to happen, right? He's the one that's setting up that master hold. He knows it in and out. He's the architect of his own plays, and putting him on the operator is absolutely perfect.
There's a lot of architecture going on here as well. A kind of similar hold to what we've seen, but not quite exactly. This is one I know you're a big fan of, Mandy, with these windows, internal windows in Master being castled up, enabling a rotation hole between stat and Master. I quite like this setup, especially in tandem with Astro's Azami.
Well, it's a direct mirror image of what Liquid were bringing when they played this site, and exactly this defense with the castle barricades and the Azami too. So FaZe about to get a taste of their own medicine per se if Liquid are able to mount an attack onto it.
Attempted a spawn peek here from Astro. Not bitten yet. Lagonis actually has info on this player prone. Bullet's going for an aggressive peek. I think Ask wants to go for this, but he's really worried about it. Bullet actually gets taken down early from Nesk, who's already lurking inside. And that does force the player on the stairs to fall back.
Nesk setting a really quick entry into the building. We haven't seen someone quite get this early map control as fast as he has been able to. Now down the bottom of main, just checking for anyone left inside of the lobby, but actually all of the FaZe players have relocated onto that top floor. Aggressive holds inside a study is making it quite challenging for the player on the balcony to entry, and Souls will hold on.
Oh, Nesk, does he have the timing? Good vertical nade. Cameraman should be aware of that. He did hear it. He has continued to remain mobile, making it difficult for those nades to have an impact. That said, now Nesk is coming up the main stairs. Does he check his corner? He absolutely won't. That's going to gift Cameraman a free kill. Palu now from outside study doesn't have his teammate working with him in tandem any longer.
Yeah, and he's caught in the crossfire between Souls and Cameraman as well. We saw those aggressive lines of sight. Ask might be able to clean up a kill inside of that 90 short if that player does get aggressive there. But like we said here it is Souls and Cameraman doubling up against Palu, who's stuck now on this study window.
And Souls continues to contest, goes prone. Difficult fight now for Palu. There's a lot of angles to worry about, not the least of which is Cameraman here aggressive in study. So unwieldy now, isn't it, for Liquid as FaZe... Oh, here comes Astro coming for the flank. That default camera is still up, Ask, and yet he's just baited a kill off of it.
Oh, but he can't bait the second. Souls is there for the trade. It's a 3-on-3, so it's not completely losable, but there's only a minute left to go. Resets, though, has gotten full control inside of this master bedroom setup like we spoke about earlier.
It's been a messy round, hasn't it, Mandy? The action's going down everywhere. Now, what will the execute be from Liquid? Will we see a bit of structure from them?
If the action wasn't going down everywhere, it would not be a FaZe Liquid game. I'll tell you that much. Souls, he's about to be flashed out of his position. Full white as the push starts to come in through bricks, but Resets, what can he do from his position? He's in the pivotal point, playing the defense set up against them, and Cyber is the only one still on the side.
Oh, here's a flank from Cameraman. Palu taken down as this push centered around the Astro stairs starts to fall apart. Resets on for the entry now, checking these corners. But it looks like FaZe Clan are playing this so smart. They've got these bulletproof cameras for information, and Liquid aren't going to be able to get a plant here. There's absolutely no way. Cameraman, oh, he is taken down inside of Master, but I don't think this 2v2 will work. The plant is going down. The cover is not good enough, and Soul's good for 2. FaZe Clan start their half with a strong defense.
Fantastic discipline from FaZe Clan. As soon as a 3-on-3 situation was there, they knew that they had given away Master Control and therefore Astro Control to go with it. They said, chill, we have the info, we'll play the retake, right? And that's exactly what they did off the back of Cameraman going for that flank at the bottom of Astro's stairs. It takes a team like FaZe with that leadership and that manpower from an IGL like Astro to be able to make a call and play a disciplined game, especially against Liquid, who are so meticulous in their pushes. Is very dangerous if you want to face them head on. So playing that more passive is exactly the right call to make.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
That lead that Liquid managed to achieve on their first half is starting to slip away. FaZe Clan, you can't count them out at any point. They're right on this comeback now that they're on their far more favored side. Mandy, a lot of the matches that these teams have played against each other in recent history have been overtimes. If I go back, there have been some convincing Liquid wins, but I've got an 8-7 on Villa, which Team Liquid just won, an 8-7 on Border, which Team Liquid just won, and an 8-7 on Theme Park, which Team Liquid just won. So these teams are used to very tight games, but it seems to always be Liquid who ends up on top at the end of them.
I'm going to theory craft this map a little bit. I personally believe that the current meta really leans into the way that FaZe play. I think it really leans into their playstyle. But because this is Villa and this is a map where you need to take one half of the map and then rotate over, take the other half of the map, that there's just a lot of things that you need to achieve. Liquid are really good on this map. It's because they play that slightly more structured and just slightly more methodical playstyle that I think it's allowed them to capitalize on the architecture of the map a little bit better than what FaZe have been able to achieve, because it's quite ambitious based on the size of the map, right? So I think Liquid on this attack half, I'm really curious as to how they're going to segment off parts of the map. It's going to be a very different approach to what FaZe brought.
Especially now we're back to Aviator Games. This is quite a telling site, right? Because it's so defender-sided. Teams love this bomb site on the defense. And so you have to get a bit creative on your attack, where you go for a more traditional, just a map clear. And if that's the case, you know, have you got any little spicy elements to do? Are you going to breach up 90? Where did I just hear that Selma go off?
Someone went off on the study wall, I believe. Here's Palu, who's looking for that grenade onto the power position inside of Vault. It's not going to connect because Astro's just made his way out of it and back in. He's running around. Playing that 1.5 times on that big line of sight can be dangerous. Here's Palu, once again, contesting the vocal line. He connects the shots onto Cyber.
Big pick, bit of Team Liquid support in the crowd, it seems, as well. It was all FaZe on the desk. They were showing us how to phase up. FaZe Clan have got to earn that cheer, though. Still in this 4v5, Liquid slow down. Bullet not continuing to be that aggressive on this main stairs position. He has that shield to play with. He has the barbed wire as well. But it looks like the Capitao from Liquid is going to force him off.
Liquid are going for this very minimalist direct take onto study, onto main stairs, but this is where the push lies. It's in that main stairs push. The combination of the Capitao Bolt to flush out Bullet will collect a Nesca kill, but not before being traded by Cameraman. A great C4 to connect onto the main stairs, and the man count still advantage Liquid.
That's a really good trade, though, isn't it? And who is that? In that little corner there, Cameraman, he's already found one kill in a prior round from sneaking in this position, but on the swing he loses the fight, does a lot of damage, but not enough to secure the kill. Astro goes for the trade, finds the double, and that is exactly what FaZe have been looking for. They go from a 2v4 to a 2-on-2, and they are back in that advantage.
Time crunch as well, starting to hit Liquid. There's only 23 seconds left to go, and Astro's got a great position here inside of the Aviator room.
Ask and resets. They've got to step up. It's Ask sending it straight into sight now. No util to speak of. Where is that diffuser as well? They're going for these kills, but it's Astro once again. What a round he has had. And of course, it's an impact from Souls to close up that round. And we've evened up the scoreline here, Mandy. FaZe are coming back.
Yeah, fantastic hold from FaZe there on that main stairs push. It felt like Liquid, even though they went for a more direct take, Astro was in a really pivotal position inside of Vault because he wasn't taken down by that nade a little bit earlier. He was able to run rampant between those Vault lines of sight. He was able to play the mirror backwards. He even went for the rotation onto main stairs and collected that double there, for example, right? It just felt like the defense from FaZe was really fluid, and Liquid, unfortunately, losing out some of those fights on the main stairs meant that they couldn't convert the push.
Well, we're going downstairs now. We're seeing a bit of an operator shuffle. We're seeing that Valkyrie come in. We hadn't seen that from FaZe so far, I don't believe. It was Team Liquid that used it to... I mean, it's hard to see exactly how much information you're getting on those Valkyrie cameras without spectating them, but we saw Palu pop off with that, and we saw a huge double C4. I think in tandem with two other C4s between Cyber and Astro, and those Capcan traps and just general roaming ability, especially from players like Bullet and Souls, I'm pretty optimistic here for FaZe on their defense.
We'll have to see if Liquid actually lean into doing that, because if they go for the map sweep, right, maybe those C4s are not going to be quite as impactful if they don't go for that master control nice and early on. We'll see what they're able to achieve here. Ask as well, I just want to point out, has got the Twitch in his hand, and it is Valkyrie, and if he can spot some of those in the hallway, that would be really great for Liquid.
Don't see a lot of Legion these days, but good passive info as well, slowing down those attackers. And it may be a bit of a time sink kind of plan from FaZe Clan, looking to slow down this attack. However, this Thatcher makes things a hell of a lot easier and a lot quicker. As you can see, here comes a nice and early breach on this pantry wall. Looks like Astro even forfeits his C4 to try and deny the Selma. Not before it opens a line of sight, though.
Nice early pressure from Liquid, but what is the next step in their push? It seems like top floor control will be the way. Now, we pointed out the C4s a little bit earlier. Two of them already have been expended, so they only have to worry about the one in the hands of Cameraman. I imagine that they've also droned out this top floor. Droning for the Valkyrie cameras is going to be very important too, to make sure that their attack stays hidden, and when they decide to go for the execute, they can do it with an element of surprise.
Yeah, Ask only does have this one Twitch drone left, though. And I expect he'll be looking for Capcan traps, Valkyrie cameras. The Electroclaw is probably not as much of a priority because we do have this Thatcher. But particularly if you can find those Capcan traps and Valkyrie cameras, Ask very aggressive here. All the way up in Laundry, just 2 steps away from that site.
Yeah, having that double reinforcement on the laundry wall has given Ask quite a lot of real estate here to prod his way into the site. Wow. He's able to connect the shots onto Astro. Another player rounding the corner. That's the Valkyrie. Oh. He's taken down as well. A double for Ask.
Yeah, and a huge opening from Liquid. Cyber now feeling like he's got to make a play, flank up the pantry stairs. There's a player outside his window on drone. He wouldn't be aware. He might hear if they do get off drone. Liquid, they're not just jumping on this opportunity. They know they have a man advantage. They know they're favored, and they're playing it slow.
Here we go. This is Souls on for the retake now through that top floor as the vertical game comes through. There is only 36 seconds though, remember, Devon. FaZe are still sitting in some pretty comfortable power positions. We've got Bullet here, who's inside of Memo, getting ready for the push onto Laundry.
I mean, where is this push going to be from, Liquid? The longer you wait, the more FaZe Clan will have a chance to clutch it out in those dire moments. Souls has gone for this retake upstairs. He sees one player, but Ask has found another kill this round. Palu to take down Souls above. It's all on Bullet, who's also on for this flank. But hang on a second, can he deny the plan? The diffuser is on the ground. I can't believe it, Mandy. That is over. FaZe Clan in the 2 versus 5. Clutch up on time.
What a great call from Souls to go back onto that top floor with Bullet to play that retake. That was the mission critical thing they needed to deny the push that Liquid were going to go for. They needed that vertical control that had been open in advance from that sledge. They just waited till the time was prime to go for it, right? If you kill a sledge too early, you're not going to have your vertical, right? And not only that, but it gives chance for Liquid to come back up and try and retake that top floor, right? So they play it disciplined. That's what we love about FaZe. They are such a disciplined roster. They fully capitalize on timings and the beats of the round. They are so good at getting a read onto that and going for that top floor retake in the perfect time where the chaos of the execute was pulling apart Liquid was perfect from them.
Now Team Liquid have been forced to take their tactical time out here. They're really feeling under a lot of stress. Tension in the server as FaZe Clan have just won 3 rounds of defense in a row. We know statistically defense is by far their favored side. But Team Liquid will now be feeling that pressure to win, I mean, at minimum 2 rounds on this attacking side. But that will only guarantee overtime, not an outright win.
I think the problem with what Liquid are currently doing is that they're telegraphing their push very early on. Liquid are not quite like FaZe, where they like to go for their probe around the map and keep the defense guessing. Liquid commit to an idea and they go for it. The problem with doing that against FaZe is that FaZe have a great read on the beats and the timings in the rounds. And even though it seems like FaZe don't contest Liquid really early on in the push, they just simply wait for the right timing to disrupt a point in the push that is mission critical. In that last round, it was the execute. Even in the trophy and statuary round, for example, FaZe didn't contest the execute, they only played for the retake. It's about finding the timing and making sure all 5 players are on the board. And when you have a team like Team Liquid who are telegraphing their push so early, it gives FaZe a lot of time to do that problem solving and figure out exactly when they're going to make that call.
And it's definitely easier to make those decisions on your rotations when you've got more information. We saw that Valkyrie last round, and while we didn't see exactly where that information was coming from, I've no doubt it was helpful. And I think that's what Team Liquid have identified. They want to start countering that Valkyrie a little bit better. So we've got the IQ from resets. It was an attacker repick, in fact. Hunting down, starving that information away from FaZe will make it a lot easier for Team Liquid to dictate the round.
Liquid looking for a sweep across the map, it seems like. Ask is now getting on that 90 repel cutoff. Actually, not quite a full sweep across the map. They are playing a slightly more disconnected attacker. We've already got early pressure onto these Keeper Barricade and Azami, the Keeper Barricade and Castle Barricade setup going on inside of Master. That's Resets working it, Lagonis working it on his own, while the map sweep happens from Ask.
What is this? Okay, good position. I like this from Ask. He's actually opened up a big line of sight that looks all the way into Aviator, or rather Games, and can cut off some rotations. FaZe still holding on to this roam. It's going to be quite difficult to achieve a lot as they're feeling that pressure. There's a lot of openings. Hang on a second. Nesk has just waltzed onto the bomb site.
You can see some of the outlines from FaZe. Pretty much all of them, except for Astro.
Oh no!
There we go. Him on his own. The remaining 4 players of FaZe, I think, have all convened over on this study side of the map instead. That's Cyber helping out some of his teammates on the roam. And only now they're starting to collect their way back into the site. Ness, he was almost able to be the thorn in the side for the defense, but Astro's just too good.
That is such a shame for Nesk. He had a huge opportunity to force the rotations of the roamers back to site, to take down some of these anchors, and yet he fumbled it. Uncharacteristic of him. And FaZe are actually retaining a lot of their map control now. They've put some players on site, but hang on a second. Here's Lagonis. He's also made his way in with resets to support. FaZe Clan very much offside, but will they be able to deny this plan? Resets has found Cameraman and Lagonis to get one as well. FaZe have to retake, but it's looking sketchy. Cyber, does he have information to enable this C4? It's back and forth. FaZe, with just 2 players left, on for this retake as time ticks away. How do Liquid play it?
Souls, he's creeping his way in through this trophy side of the building. Not able to find a single Liquid player in his line of sight. Resets will take down Cyber, and now 1-on-3 for Souls if he wants to make this retake work.
Difficult crossfire to Jewel, and he's not going to be able to get it. Resets to secure that kill. 3 players alive at the end of the round for Liquid, and a great first attack round win from them.
Just want to point out the change in play style from Liquid off the back of that tactical timeout. I think they realized, they might have heard me in the comms, hey, saying that they were telegraphing their push. Now, what they were able to do there was they just left their hard breach on Master side, saying this is the contingency plan, right? If the roam clear doesn't work, if we don't find the picks on the cutoffs, we all rotate back over to Master a bit later, and we go for the execute there. That roam clear, they didn't actually commit to it. They only set up Ask on that long line of sight, trying to cut them off. And once they realized that FaZe have started to rotate all their players onto that south side, they immediately all pivoted over and hit the bomb site. It was some great timing. Nest was the one to start it off, but it was actually Lagonis that jumped in, the new hard breach player of this roster, to call that push on the other side and make the execute work.
Mandy, we're at breakpoint. This is my favorite part of any game. When you're at 5-5, one team is about to find match point. And when that happens, well, it's either a regulation win or the other team forces overtime. As soon as I saw that we were going to Villa, as soon as you know it's Team Liquid versus FaZe, you start to feel like it's going to be overtime. Statistically, these guys go to overtime more often than not. In stage 3, they had 3 8-7 matches, and Team Liquid always edged out on top. Now, FaZe started on attack because Team Liquid got the choice of starting defense first. In overtime, FaZe have chosen to start on the defense, which means that if we do go into overtime, they will have the advantage.
Scary stuff. They do not want to let this one slip by, our Team Liquid. Starting to amount their attack onto the bomb slot. We've got a 2-3 split, I believe it is, True on the other side of the map. That's Nesk and one of his teammates. Just making his way in through living as they start to rendezvous around these main stairs. This is the choke point that is often so struggled with on this direct attack. They need to clear it with a cacophony of utility, flashbangs, grenades, whatever they need to flush out that player on the main stairs. I believe that's Bullet with that FMG9 in hand, reigning supreme so far in the spot.
Yeah, it's a cheeky spot, especially with that support from Cameraman. There's vertical lines of sight he can play. E1D rings out. It's unclear to me exactly the play for Liquid. Getting a little bit of a vertical angle, enabling some nades, but it might not find a player. You can see Astro and the rest of FaZe very mobile, and they're standing on top of items as well, like Cameraman here. He takes quite actually a lot of damage from that grenade, but he survives because he was jumping up onto that pool table.
Well, look, what Liquid need to do here is make it comfortable as possible. It's never going to be comfortable for that main stage push to come through. And that means trying to take down as many anchors as you can, flush them out of vertical lines, just put the pressure on them to be running around so that when that main stage push comes through, it can be chaotic, but a little bit more attack in favor in the timing, right? And that's exactly what Nesk and Palo are doing, doubling down with those vertical nades. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out for them, and it's going to be a bit of a bloody push up the main stairs.
If Ask is able to make this lurk work, it could be big though. He's telegraphed his push with that smoke, as it has absorbed a lot of Souls' attention. Cyber here on the red stairs, player on the other side, it's Nesk. He fell early last round, he fumbled the ball, and he might do so again. Cyber takes him down, and Souls can double fake out Ask. Palu to make his way up the stairs, finally trading back Nesk. And Resets has actually managed to sneak inside, but unfortunately for him, it just doesn't last very long at all. Mandy, it looks like FaZe Clan are reigning supreme on their defense, and that is a huge retake from Bullet to go into study. It's Palu versus the world, a 1v4 to stave off match point. Team Liquid were up 4 rounds to 2, and now they're about to be at their brink. FaZe Clan find match point on the first map of this series.
Great hold from FaZe. Even though Liquid telegraphed their push by going for that study side and not taking any control on the other side, FaZe didn't halter. They didn't give up their 2 lurkers that were on the other side of the map. And so when Liquid inevitably went for that re-lurk, that retake over on the Astro side, that was Ask and the red stairs control happening, there was still FaZe players around, right? They called the bluff, essentially, right? They called the bluff perfectly. Even though Liquid never went for that main stairs push, FaZe were a step ahead of them in the mind games. And as a result, they clean up that final 2 or 3 kills because that just simply wasn't enough time for Liquid to make that push work.
And FaZe Clan now can go back to kitchen dining, which is unlocked, and they won it. The other time that they played it, in fact, this was the 2 versus 5 round, Mandy. That huge play from, I believe it was Cyber who managed to clutch it. Does look like a couple of operators have been shuffled around on this this defensive side, but pressure's on for Liquid. You know, if they have a minute to go yet with a huge numbers advantage, they can't afford to sit around. They have to commit early, otherwise they'll let FaZe get back in.
Attackers are heading out to the
So Ask has just re-picked off the Twitch and onto the Jackal. Now, if you want to make full use of the Jackal, you do want to be inside of the building, lo and behold. And so I only imagine that Liquid, like you pointed out, need to commit to something. And having the Jackal in your hands is going to aid and expedite that roam clear process. But hang on a moment, this is Cyber. Being a bit cheeky inside of the closet, taking on drone from outside the window.
I like the idea there. We've seen, I mean, hey, you're up 6-5. You're going against your rivals that you've struggled to take down even at a domestic level for such a long time. Just go for it. Don't hold back. Go for those spawn peaks. Exude confidence and try and manifest it. Astro does get an early pick. Ask, caught in a goo mine, is going to have to pull that out. Cameraman's actually might even go for a C4 here. And FaZe Clan are in the advantage here on match point.
Ask as well has just given away his basement control that he originally held onto. Liquid are starting to surround this dining and kitchen bomb site like vultures. What is the next step in the push going to be? Are they going to rotate players over and start looking for a pinch from the other side? Are they going to look to work the vertical? There's a lot of questions still to be asked for Liquid, but it's Algonis to kick things off from a kill onto Cyber.
And FaZe Clan falling back now. Both of those roamers upstairs going down onto the ground floor, seceding this control to Liquid, but still with the ability to play that vertical game. Still a C4 on Cameraman.
I think that C4 as well is in the perfect spot. He's the one that's babysitting the site, just inside of that Tetris position. Ask in the meantime is going for a bit of his own lurk over on the other side of the map, and Liquid are starting to dwindle away on time. It's Palu that's the sledge in hand that will want to make use of that vertical pressure if they're able to collect it. Already Nesk is all the way inside of Trophy, and Palu can start to make use of the vertical, flush out the positions. There's really only 2 anchors on site that he has to flush out here.
But this is really where it went wrong for Liquid last time, Mandy. They have to make sure not to dilly-dally for too long. FaZe Clan have some strong positions, and they're still roaming, but Palu does find one on the vert. Astra to fall back to sight. And Sol's about to find a duel here with Ask, who baits it out with a few shoulder peeks. Who is going to be able to find this as Sol's enables a retreat? FaZe Clan are falling like flies. It's a 4v2 now for Liquid, and beautifully played by them, as Ask allows his teammate to come over and support. It's up to Cameraman in the 1v3 retake with that diffuser on the ground. No C4 to speak of. A player in the corner of the room. He does take that down to clutch it for the map. It's Cameraman sneaking his way up the Astro stairs. Is Nesk aware of this? Is Cameraman gonna get the better of him? He will. 1 versus 1. Ask to hold on and push overtime as Cameraman could make this dream a reality. He has to stick it. He has no choice now. 11 seconds on the timer, but it takes 7 to lock on here, and it doesn't matter because Liquid will push us into overtime.
And this series is absolutely deserving of it. Overtime, 2 Brazilian behemoths going at it in the server. What an incredible attack that was onto Liquid as well, right? They went for that top floor control once they realized that the roamers had seceded those positions. They made full use of the vertical. That was Palu on the sledge. And FaZe just unfortunate on the timing for that retake. They couldn't make it work as all their players were dropping like flies. Not just from that, but as well as the lurk from Ask, who was just so successful, doubling up with Nesk to be able to take down Souls in his position in library. It just felt like all of the dots connected for Liquid through that mid to late round. They knew exactly what they were going for, and FaZe didn't have that connection to fight back with the right timing.
Well, FaZe now in overtime will start on the favored side of defense as they've taken their tactical timeout to discuss as a team their best chance of locking this game out for the first time in such a long time to beat Team Liquid in an overtime.
This is exciting times for both these teams. Here it is on Villa. We have no idea how this one is going to end, but like you commented on, FaZe are on the defending half. We've seen a relatively defender-sided Villa so far, and unless Liquid change, they have actually been changing their play style quite a bit. Unless FaZe get in a read into the way that the new Liquid has been playing, I feel like Liquid have a pretty good grip on this game so far. That they're mounting some really impressive attacks that FaZe are starting to fall off the pace from.
Despite this game being defender-sided 8 rounds to only 4 from the attack, I actually feel like Team Liquid have the upper hand in this overtime, Mandy. And that's because while FaZe Clan started by successfully defending every single bomb site, Team Liquid went on to win both a stat trophy attack and a kitchen dining attack. So in my mind, Team Liquid might have the advantage here. And look at this as well. FaZe Clan opting to go to stat trophy instead of Aviator Games, where Liquid has already beaten them once this game.
And that's exactly it, right? So just to reiterate, it is the change in play style that Liquid have gone for in the last 2 or 3 rounds in a row that have successfully mounted them some attacks. Here we go, Liquid starting out on the roam clear. The bomb site is trophy and statuary, and Paolo is starting to put pressure on the study side of the map. Meanwhile, Ask, of course, the lurker player for Team Liquid, starting to put the pressure on the site, making sure that FaZe have got something to worry about on that northern side of the building.
It's been neck and neck between these teams. Opening kills going back and forth. Some huge performances. Palu, of course, right at the top of that scoreboard. 13 kills. But it's been fairly even across the board. So many players have had their moments to shine.
Bomb located by attackers.
There it is, Bullet. He's the one on the main stairs and has a drone of his own. Just going to check to see if there is actually an entry coming through the ground floor, and he does spot out the Nook. That's Nesk. Now we're on board with him, creeping his way in through piano, but has been spotted out.
Yeah, that's a huge play from the Mozzie drone of Bullet, as he is prone, and he has been droned out. This is Palu's actually droned out Bullet, while Bullet has droned out Nesk, and Souls is the first one to capitalize on the information. Is Bullet still vulnerable here?
I was going to say that. Does Bullet know that they know where he is? That is the danger. Do they know that he's got the info currently on the main stairs? It seems like he will fall back to the safety of his teammates. Palu just a few seconds too late to catch him out.
It's a stat trophy attack, though, and Liquid have rotated to this position. Palu to even up the man count. As Liquid are primed and ready. Selma's detonating. And that's a crouchable hole on the stat wall. Astro attempts to defend.
And this is the beauty of the Liquid attack. And now they've pivoted all their players onto that north side where Ask was putting pressure early. Now the rest of the teammates will be. And FaZe are still loitering around on the other side of the map, trying to deal with Palu. What a thorn in their side.
It's an even 4v4. Palu does catch out Bullet, and Liquid collapse. The attack is right on and ready. Cameraman now in a 1 versus 4 to try and save match point for FaZe, but Team Liquid, they have made this comeback happen, and they now have match point.
Ask has been such an instrumental player in the success of Team Liquid. He's the IGL of this roster. He's also the playmaker of this roster. While the rest of Team Liquid are setting up that roam clear, while they're playing the attrition game with the intel, the double drones that came out, the scary mini game that was going on there, in the background, there was Ask. And he was setting up that late game the entire time, making sure that Master was clear, that Astro Stairs was clear, that Dining was clear, so that when the rest of his teammates came around, he just goes, you guys just get in the building. It's all safe now. We're going to go for the execute. You've all been keeping them distracted on the other side of the map. And that is the strength in having the IGL on that lurker position. He's just so incredible at it, and aided by the Buck as well. Perfect operator to set up rotations and anything you might need. It must be very comfortable to attack on that team.
Yeah, and Team Liquid must be very comfortable in general right now. You know why? FaZe Clan decided to take a risk last round and go to a bomb site that they had already lost on. This round, Team Liquid's actually making the opposite decision. Aviator Games has not been lost by any defensive team this game. Liquid won it twice, FaZe won it twice. And Liquid are going back there. Now, I'm not very good at maths, but the stats don't lie. 100% win rate for the defense on this side. And Team Liquid having match point as well. There is no other way to cut it. FaZe have the pressure right now. They're the ones who had match point within their grasp, and they're the ones now that have to do the improbable.
FaZe starting to mount their attack onto the building, starting out on this master side roam clear. It's Souls, the one on the roof now, just going to drone out what he can see inside of that statuary room. Meanwhile, we've got Astro playing the SAM cams on the cutoffs as well. Cameraman, though, he's putting early pressure on this study control. The Kiva barriers to go down, getting a lot of value, clearing out those Malusi, all the push that can come out into study later. But it's Astro with the lurk into the mudroom that'll take down Palu.
Yeah, and what a player to take down. If there's anybody in the server to eliminate, it's the 1 on 15 kills. Here's a big potential nade from Cyber. Oh, and it goes through the floor to take down resets. I thought standing on top of the match table would protect him, but Cyber threads that needle. Ask now to fight back. Nest to put his name in that ticker as well. And it's a 3 versus 3 with only a minute and 15 seconds into the round.
FaZe has done a lot of work so far, though, with this roam clear. Cameraman is already setting up the late round. He's cleared out so much utility and study, and main stairs control is in the hands of Cyber. FaZe, they have full control here on this southern side of the map as the rest of Liquid reconvene over towards the north.
Souls is so close to having a free kill. Oh, no, never mind. Nesk is actually not in Skull. He is protected by a hard wall. Ask still holding on to 90. And the question for me is, where will FaZe execute? We've got Cyber in study in top main stairs.
Not only that, but Cameraman as well is the one with the diffuser in hand just outside of this study door. What he's worried about is those long lines of sight from inside of Vault. He'll need the aid of his teammates to be able to make this entry happen and get the bomb down inside of Aviator.
Cyber's going for a flank below though. No nades remaining. Liquid just holding onto their positions. They know they don't need to make a play. They're biding their time, shooting drones, repositioning.
They're being so disciplined about this as well. Souls and Cyber to double up.
Oh no!
But Ask is too good. He's good for one and not good for the second. Souls there for the trade.
But low HP now on the Lion. Cameraman with that diffuser in pocket. But Nesk is just on the other side of this doorway. They've got to land this. Nesk gets the down. And FaZe must rely on Cameraman. He gets the first kill. But it's the rookie for Liquid that must step up. Lagonis gets the kill. And the map along with it. Team Liquid yet again prove to be the masters of overtime. They take down FaZe 8-6 on FaZe's own